my sisters. Hey, what's up, my brothers? Me again. We come back again. You know, thing is not easy, bro. Thing is going worse and worse. But alhamdulillah, thing is going a little bit better right now. Free Palestine every day, always. Make sure you subscribe to our channel. Make sure you comment, like the video. Make sure you finish the video so that you will understand. You may get a little bit knowledge what is going on. One is Israel, one is pro-Palestine, and I know you pro-Palestine. Let's go, Habibi. Let's go, brother.
Palestinian killing because
that's not true at all. Don't put words in my mouth.
No, seriously.
I 100% have sympathy.
Your entrance into this conversation is extremely racist because you say, well, Arabs have been killing each other. First of all, the Arabs have been killing each other. These are called either proxy wars or civil wars. But this is different because America is not standing behind Saudi Arabia voting every single UN resolution like Israel. Israel is killing Palestinians and nobody can do anything for them in the UN or the Security Council. Right? You can talk about how Saudis are killing the Houthis or the Yemenis or how Iran. Mm-hmm. But when they go to the Security Council, America doesn't use the veto. You know how many vetoes did America use since the inception of the Security Council? How many?
Tell me.
88. How many of those were they used in order to protect Israel from a veto?
0.
56.
Oh.
The superpower of the world over 50 years used more than 65% of its veto power to protect one country. You cannot compare both.
So why do you think that is? Why is Israel so aligned with Israel? I'm sorry, why is U.S. so aligned with Israel over Gaza?
I don't know. I mean, there's like a million.
Ask yourself.
There's a million. Why? So why
I want to know.
Tell me. Because they're white like them? Are they allowed to put people?
Who's white?
Well, I mean, a lot of Americans consider Israel is the white.
But you know for a fact.
I know.
Most Israelis are Sephardic and they're brown.
It's the perception.
So it's bullshit.
It's the perception.
Exactly.
It's a perception. You know. So this is how Israel promotes itself. We are a secular. We are a democratic country. I have never seen a secular or democratic country that would actually give contraception shots to its own citizens, to their Ethiopian Jews, and make them not to reproduce. And until 2013, they have confessed doing that. They have been doing this for 10 years. That is not a democratic country. I have never heard a secular country, a democratic country, that would kidnap little kids from Yemeni Jews in 1950 and then take them away and then tell their parents that they die. And they did that in order to instill Semitic DNA in their population. That's why DNA testing is not allowed in Israel.
So are you pro-Islam? Are you anti-Israel or both?
I'm not pro anything. I'm pro-humanity, man.
So am I.
It doesn't matter my religion is. I don't care actually, and I can give you 100 things I can tell you about Islamic countries that they do wrong. But what happens is right now is that the people who are bombing people only every single day, they are not Yemenis, they're not Houthis, they're not Saudis, they're Israelis. For 100 days, they have dropped almost 3 nuclear weapons on an open air prison, and all because of Hamas. Dude, if ISIS was already there, you have no excuse to kill 30,000 people.
You can't say words like nuclear weapons when it's not true, Bassem, and you know that.
The equivalent of 3. No, I can't.
So now they're dropping nuclear weapons? That's what you're trying to sell me on this one?
I said like they're dropping the equivalent of 3 nuclear weapons.
So how many people have died in Gaza?
30,000 people.
Okay, according to Hamas. Obviously, UN gets their number from Hamas.
So do you have a number that you trust?
No, I don't have any number that I trust, but I'll take your word for it. I don't think that sounds...
So how many?
Hundreds of thousands of Muslims have died in the Middle East.
How many people in Israel died in October 7th?
According to the numbers, 1,200. But
according to who?
But the numbers are still being counted.
According to whom?
According to the IDF.
Oh, but I don't trust the IDF.
Whether you do or you don't, those are the numbers that we're working with.
Well, I'm giving you 50,000 people died, and you said you don't trust them. So who do we trust?
That's not what I said. I said according to Hamas.
Yeah, but
so whether I believe the numbers...
When you say according to Hamas, it's the undertone that you don't believe the numbers.
With all due respect, you're...
Hey, you have to watch this, bro. I love this, bro. I love it. He's killing it. Bassem Youssef is killing it.
Missing my point. 30,000 other than the Hamas fighters, because I will stand to kill these people. I hope zero civilians die. But we know what happened.
Adam is just Islamophobia. He doesn't like Islam.
They die.
Of course.
Every day.
But let's go back to my initial question. Let me ask this question and then you can stick to my...
How do you think how many...
But what about the 100... Zero.
Should we stop?
Zero.
But they're killing it.
Okay, but that's not my point, Bassem. My point is this. 30...
How many
Can I ask the question? Can I ask the question? And then you can have the full response. Why is this issue at the forefront of the news when hundreds of thousands, since 9/11, 5 million plus people in the Middle East have died? 5 million. 5 million versus 30,000. Where are the marches? Where are the protests?
You haven't been around.
No.
You just haven't been around.
No, but I also read the newspapers. I see what's going on.
Because there has been marches against what happened in Yemen. There have been massive marches against what happened in Iraq.
If you ask the average person, they couldn't tell you that there's a war in Yemen.
There is a difference.
But if you ask the average American, they know what is exactly going on in Israel.
Here's the thing. These mental gymnastics where you want to divert people to other conflicts, these conflicts are proxy wars. These conflicts are civil war. Terrible, horrible. Civil war. There's been civil war happening in all kind of Asian and African country. The only difference is that is a foreign country invading another country, like exactly Russia invaded Ukraine, and then everybody is sitting there. All they ask is ceasefire, because one of the people in that conflict is a country that has been financed, given money by the US. It is considered as part of the free world because they're secular, because they are democratic, and they are committing war crimes every single day under the eyes of the United States, of the UN, and the Security Council. And that is why it is different.
Fair enough. So civil wars are totally okay. If it's a civil war, don't look at those. Are people just doing their thing?
Did I ever say that civil war is okay?
But you basically equivalized. Let's have a civil war. 5 million people die across the Middle East.
Yeah, it is.
It's no big deal.
Usually, the civil war is really supported by like two proxy people, and they are like killing each other, and it's terrible, and they're trying to do it. And at the same time, those people are not just like killing them; they're killing them, wanted to push them out, openly saying that we are going to push Palestinians into the Sinai. Basically, that is my country. All right.
The only people shouting for the river to the sea are the Gazans.
Well,
Palestine will be free. So what does a free Palestine look like?
You know what's the difference between regular people in the street shouting from the river and the sea? Mm-hmm. These are regular people that are carrying flags in the street. You know what's happened on the other side? You have government official like Bitzail, like the Minister of Finance. You have Ben Ghafir, who is the Minister of National Security. Both of them, by the way, were arrested many times for acts of terrorism against their own country.
These are Israeli prime ministers?
These ministers.
Not the prime ministers, ministers of certain.
Yeah.
So do you mean to tell me that Yahya Sinwar, who's the head of Hamas, or Mahmoud Abbas, who's the head of the PLO, they're not politically saying from the river to the sea? So if we're going to use that equivalence...
You didn't even finish.
Go ahead.
So first of all, you are comparing a militant group, a terrorist group, with a secular democratic country. This secular democratic country that I'm telling you about, they have ministers coming up with the map of Greater Israel behind of them, and they openly talk about them, which is, by the way, if you don't know, the Greater Israel map is from the river to the Euphrates, including parts of Saudi Arabia, Jordan, Lebanon, and Syria, and of course Palestine. So that is the official talk of the official ministers. So you want to kind of ignore this, and you go after random people in the streets with flags saying from the river to the sea. Don't you see that comparison is a little bit off?
It's not just random people. It is Hamas, who is the governing body of Gaza.
Hamas?
But the point of a democracy, what do you mean?
Hamas, at the end of the day, they're a militant group. They're a militant group. They're ISIS. You don't take them seriously. Militant group.
Don't take them seriously. They're the leaders of Gaza, Bassem. They were elected in 2006, and as your joke said, a 30-year...
2006, when nobody actually was alive by then. Like now, like people there, how many people were alive?
50% of Gaza was not alive in 2006.
So if you did an election right now, they're not going to be the rulers of Gaza.
Yeah, but you didn't do an election. That's the point.
Why is that? Why is that?
Because basically they kicked out Fatah and the PLO, and they're running the West Bank.
And Israel didn't put them under blockade and kick the shit out of them.
There is an argument to be made there. You think that I'm saying that Israel is completely innessent? Do you think I would say that the U.S. is completely innocent?
Think you said that.
We had a debacle in Iraq. We had a debacle in Afghanistan. There's no perfect country. There's no innocent country.
Listen, this is what you do. And when I say what you do is what America and Israel and all of this, like let's kill them all.
No. You've already put words in my mouth. You've called me racist. You're saying that I want to kill everybody. I've said none of those words.
You kill people and then you ask questions later. You kill people, you ask questions later.
Isn't that what Hamas does?
America did. Hamas is a terrorist group. You are comparing Hamas. Every time you compare Hamas, I'm bringing you Israel and America, which are supposedly democratic countries. Hamas and ISIS and whatever, these people are not like good examples, right?
I agree.
Good example. So when you tell me Hamas, all right, fine, Hamas, horrible people. Let's talk about the leaders of the free world. America, they kill first, they ask questions later, and the result, Afghanistan and Iraq. Israel,
disasters.
They kill.
I'm not going to argue with them on that one. Disaster.
Israel kill later, and then the result, what's happening in Gaza and what's been happening to Gaza. There's no justification for Israel to kill 30,000 people right now. And all the thing about October 7th, many of them, can you tell me where are the decapitated babies? What are their names? Can you tell me the names?
You want me to go over every dead, decapitated Israeli baby's name?
I think that story was refuted, wasn't it?
It was refuted many times.
It wasn't real.
It was the biggest story.
What's your point? That Hamas didn't kill babies? That didn't kill women?
What I say, if you have
There's hundreds of people kidnapped by Hamas. What's your point?
No. They're kidnapped, yes. In fact,
you're saying that 1,200 people weren't murdered?
If a terrorist group would decapitate people, if terrorist group would burn people, you know what terrorist groups does? They terrorize. They would show them off. Like ISIS, they were burning people in cages. All right? We will not find about the atrocities of rape or about decapitating from other sources, because a terrorist group, by design, terrorizes. They would go in with their GoPro, they will show you the babies that they decapitated. They will not gonna hide, or it's like, oh my, we didn't do it, because terrorist groups does that, right? Remember ISIS, when they were burning people in cages, they like to promote their terror, because the terrorist group wanted to terrorize the public. We have not seen anything of that.
That's one of the most naive comments I've ever heard. We've seen videos, countless videos, of them gang raping women and then blowing their head off while they chop off one of their breasts. We've seen these videos.
No, you haven't seen it.
Well, are you fucking crazy? Of course we've seen these videos.
You haven't seen it.
We've seen dead bodies littered all over kibbutzes.
You have read about it.
Okay.
And I can
go watch the videos. You're choosing, this is selective ignorance. This is selective ignorance. That's like me saying, of course Israel's not bombing indiscriminately. No, they have. And I'm at least willing to own that. And I'm not Israeli, I'm American.
By the way, I'm not defending Hamas. They did.
But you are equivalent.
But what I'm saying is all of these like decapitating babies, that is wrong. That never happened.
Okay, it was only a few.
A few? How many?
Dude, I'm not there on the ground. So what's your argument?
We have pictures.
Let's be clear here. What's your argument? That they didn't decapitate one baby's head?
No.
So what are you saying?
I said that what Hamas did was terrible, but it was inflated.
It's not true. It's a lie.
By things to make it emotional, to think that it's okay to kill all of those people.
It was inflated. So it wasn't 1,200? Well, how much was it?
I don't know.
Okay. So Israelis' numbers are inflated, 1,200, but the 30,000 from Hamas is not inflated? You're talking out of both sides of your mouth.
As a matter of fact, according to Israeli survivors, they said that many of these casualties happened because Israeli troops came in and indiscriminately killed everybody, including the hostages.
That's the first time I've heard that story. I've been
first time because you are not covering, because you have not listening to the survivors from the Israelis.
Every morning I read credible sources, Wall Street Journal, Fox News, Bloomberg. Okay, so what are you reading? Hamas.com? Like, where are you getting your sources?
Haaretz.
Okay, Haaretz, yeah, the Israeli newspaper.
The Time of Israel.
Yes, of course, I read those too.
They have actually brought
I've never heard them say one time that 1,200 people were not murdered. Not in one paper.
No, I didn't say that. Okay. I said many of those numbers that were killed, they were killed because of the indiscriminating interference by the Israeli troops, and many of them died because of...
4 people were killed that way when they tried to rescue the hostages.
No,
the fact that you're trying to equivocate 1,200 people...
You're late in the game.
Basser,
you're late in the game. There was a woman that whose name is Dalia. She came out on an Israeli podcast and she said that everybody in the kibbutz were died, and then we went out and we said the Israeli tank, the one that fired on the whole kibbutz.
This is bullshit stories.
Right.
You think the IDF is just coming in and just spraying down kibbutzes? That's like saying American troops are just coming into a conflict here and just spraying down fellow Americans.
It's called the Hannibal.
It's bullshit.
It's called the Hannibal Protocol. Look it up.
Yeah, we'll look it up. But I think that's bullshit.
Bassem, I want to ask you a question. So going to that day, all the stuff that we found out since that day, we found out, Rob, that they knew, apparently they had information intelligence for a year that it was going to happen. The day that it happened, apparently all the defenses were down. Hamas got to run rampant for 6 hours. Mayhem. They asked, John Kirby went up, and one of the reporters from Fox asked, how did you guys not see this with all the intelligence? And he said, and I quote, now is not the time. Since October, it's not, 3 months, October, November, December. We're in January right now. They still don't know. We saw this thing called the Jericho Wall, where Israel, a leaked document where Israel already had a plan of what to do with all these, all the displaced people. They want to send them all to Egypt and all the countries in the United States. Bibi Netanyahu was on a video saying how he could do whatever he wants in Gaza because Americans are gullible, and he could do whatever on the home video. Bassem, what do you have an opinion on the knowledge, the pre-knowledge of this was going to happen, and the fact that they got to wait, they got to do whatever they want for 6 hours with one of the sickest military, sickest intelligence? Do you think like they knew, they let it happen? How do you feel about?
I'm no military expert at all, but like watching this, the fact that they've been doing this for 6 hours, and this is the most guarded border ever. Mm-hmm. I mean, you can't even have a dog pass by without being shot. And these walls has been tried and tested, and the fact that they get in and they continue, like the wall by itself is 7 meters up, 7 meters down the ground. It's one of the most fortified borders ever. And then you go in, the Apaches didn't even appear until after 6 hours.
That doesn't make sense.
And you understand like how Israel and Gaza and all of these are like very small. Mm-hmm. These are like very small. This is like a plane can be there in 2 minutes. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. I mean, these are the questions that I don't want to go into conspiracy theories, but these are the questions that the Israeli community has been asking. This kind of failure. A lot of people inside, again, conspiracy theories, I don't want to adopt any of them. It's like, it's because of Bibi was having a lot of pressure from his Supreme Court, so he wanted something to kind of like divert it. And, when people want to divert something, like they make a conflict. Mm-hmm. But it kind of like, it got out of hand. Mm-hmm. And the fact you can go in, lily-willy, with very primitive weapons and go inside of Israel and come up. I mean, just a year ago, there were 50 Palestinians that were killed by snipers just because they came in closer to the
border,
and they were like holding flags. Mm-hmm. So the fact that they go in and you see like all of these military bases empty for the taking and coming back with cars and with people and with hostages. I mean, if I'm an Israeli citizen, I would be pissed.
Of course, I want to answer.
I would like to have some answers. So I don't know.
But Bassem, let's go to the last thing, because for me, I'm curious with solutions, right? Some say, well, this is going to keep happening. It's never going to stop. It's been going on for hundreds of years, couple thousand years. It's going to be ongoing for another couple thousand years. Perfect. Okay, fine. So that's one argument. Now, for the people that maybe are solution oriented and they want to figure out a way to, improve things. You said 06, Hamas gets elected because, what it was, but today it wouldn't happen. Today, if they do have an election, who controls the election? Because you were a little bit not elusive. You were not clear about why they're not having fair elections today. Who controls the elections?
I wish Hamas is not in charge of. I wish the whole thing about the Islamization, Judaism of this conflict is not there. Because that is making everything worse.
So how do you get
the whole idea about like putting so much religion on the Israeli side and on the Muslim side? It has actually it is the reason why this conflict is getting worse and worse and worse. It's because now people are like kind of like rooting for the divine, and whenever you put religion in any conflict, this is going to get worse and worse. So the thing is, there is a problem, a fundamental problem for the rights of the Palestinians in the land of Palestine. Now, whether you create a Palestinian nation on the 22% after using like Jimmy Carter once said, we'd have to have like a two-state solution using Gaza, using the borders of 1967 with modification and land swap. That is what the Palestinian Authority are actually accepting. Hamas does not accept that. And there's other people who does not accept that. And at the same time, people on the Israeli side does not accept that. You have radical people on both sides who want all or none and kind of fairly moderate people who want to stay in the middle and say, all right, let's have a little bit of a swap. But what is happening right now is the two-state solution is being shot and dead a long time ago. Because even if Benjamin Netanyahu, when he came out and he bragged about how he have spoiled the Oslo Accord and how Americans don't care and we have manipulated them and 80% of America are with us so we can do whatever they want, the hell we want, even if we can kill as many Palestinians as possible. Wow. And he goes there on camera. When he does that and there's no repercussions, I don't think it's going to get any better. And I think it's going to be a matter of time until those Palestinians will be, if it's not today, it's not this year, it's the year after, all of this Gaza will be cleared out and the Palestinians will be pushed into Sinai and Israel will take it over. And it will not stop like that, because if you put 2.2 million people, put them in Sinai, that will be a security threat, because those people will have an open access to the sea and they will have weapons. And then they will want to avenge what happened to them and they will go in and attack Israel. And now it's going to have a dual problem between a group of people, between Israel and Egypt, and that will not get any better. So I'm just like telling you, I'm not very optimistic about what will happen, because if you don't have justice and you don't have people what they want, they are just like people going to get justice in themselves, and then they will be called militant terrorists, freedom fighters, no matter how you call them. But it's not going well.
So, regarding Gaza, and I'm trying to come from a solution-based approach here, to be honest. At the end of the day, everything comes down to money or security. You need that?
Mm-hmm.
Everything comes down to money or security. So,
You just got to pull your shirt up.
hold on.
Oh, what's going on?
It's a heater pad.
He's got a bad back. Let's get his back right before I ask this question. Look up the shirt.
That's how we played. Massages. We got a masseuse coming in the house.
Well, thank you guys, because I'm really in pain. I can't even.
Well, you've been traveling for how many days?
We have what is called unreasonable hospitality here.
Yeah, Pat doesn't play.
While we're having a friendly debate, we're going to make sure that your back's
All right, so
Okay, go ahead. Solution for Gaza.
Yeah, well,
go
look,
for it.
Yeah.
Israel wants security, and Gaza, many countries in the Middle East need and want prosperity. Okay? Israel's whole thing, their whole contention is, listen, we just can't have another October 7th, period. And we're going to do everything to protect our citizens. The people in Gaza, they're no different than other people in the Middle East. They want prosperity. The problem in the Middle East, in my opinion, my humble opinion, it's not just an Islamic issue. It's certainly not just an Israeli issue, because by the way, it is an Iranian issue. That's the tip of the spear when it comes to the mafia-like regime that's running Iran over there. But it's socioeconomic. People need economic improvements. People need political certainty. And when you combine that with Islamic fundamentalism, you sprinkle in a little jihad, throw in a little anti-Zionism and rhetoric, you'll get what's going on in Gaza. But look at the countries that are thriving in the Middle East, and look at the countries that are basically the Gazas of the Middle East. Unemployment rates. People need jobs, okay? If kids don't have jobs, if youth unemployment is skyrocketing, what are these young people supposed to do? The highest unemployment rate in the Middle East, Jordan, 23%. Palestinians right next to them, also at 23%. Then you have Sudan, Libya, Tunisia, Lebanon, Iraq, Yemen, Afghanistan, Iran, Morocco, Syria, Turkey, Egypt, all above 10% unemployment, with the exception of your country of Egypt, 7%. Every single one of those countries, political upheaval, especially what's going on in Iraq, Afghanistan, Palestine. But did you notice that all the good countries, high unemployment rate, low unemployment rates? Qatar, 0.3%, one of the richest countries on earth. They just had the World Cup there. Richest country in the Middle East. Bahrain, 1.9%. Israel, 3.3%. UAE, 3.4%. By the way, the UK's unemployment rate is 3.5%. So UAE is better than the UK. Kuwait, 3.7%. Same as the US. When people don't have jobs, and they don't have purpose, and they don't have meaning, and they can't work, and they can't basically have political economic sustenance for their family, they're going to resort to violence. That's why every single one of those countries that is 10% unemployment, those countries are, as Trump says, shithole countries. But all the nice countries, Qatar, UAE, they're all thriving. So it's not an Islamic problem, it's an economic problem. Now, if you want to talk GDP, just for my last point, the countries with the lowest GDP per persons Those countries are disasters. Afghanistan. You know what the average person in Afghanistan makes a year? $350 a year. Afghanistan. Syria, $420. Yemen, $650. Sudan, $1,100. Morocco, $3,400. Palestinians, above any of those guys, $3,700 a year. Lebanon, $4,000. Egypt, $4,200. Conversely, every single rich country has zero problems. Qatar, GDP, $87,000. Better than the United States. Better than the United States. Israel, 55,000. UAE, 54,000. Kuwait, 40,000. I can go on and on and on here. The bottom line is this, what I've seen in the Middle East, it comes down to socioeconomics. Then you sprinkle in a little Islamism in there. Why is every rich country in the Middle East have no problems? But all the poor countries are suicide bombings, terrorists. Gaza had the opportunity to invest billions of dollars into infrastructure.
In what?
Into infrastructure.
How?
But they built tunnels and bombs. But my question is...
No.
I basically, here's my...
No, you're wrong. You're wrong.
Gaza has not built tunnels and bombs?
You're wrong. You said like as if there was like some sort of a prosperous source of economy, and all of Gaza said took that and put it on in tunnels. What you're missing here is Gaza since 2006 is under blockade. And even the medicine, even the water, even the electricity is controlled by Israel. They don't have...
I'm not asking you about Gaza. I'm asking you about the Middle East, to be clear. No, you want to focus on Gaza and then you want to turn it back on Israel. I'm asking you specifically...
I'm sorry. Let's not talk about Israel if that would make you a little bit nervous.
We can talk about Israel for the next 2 hours.
Other countries in the Arab world so we can prove that Arabs could be bombed at any time because we're fucking poor?
No, that's not what I'm saying.
That's exactly what you're saying.
No,
so they're just like poor people killing each other and we're just like there watching them.
No.
I'm sorry that, dude, I like you, but seriously, your undertone is fucking racist. From the beginning until the end, you are looking at those people as lesser people who have made bad choices, and because they are poor, they are okay to be fucking bombed by Israel.
Okay, this is the third time you've used the racist word. I've never said that once about you.
Your undertone is very, very, very offensive.
So when I read stats...
Yeah,
you don't like my tone when I read stats?
You read the stats basically telling people like, you see, because they're rich, they got this to themselves. The rich people are better, the poor people are okay, so we can have to kill them every now and then.
That's not what I said, and you're putting words in my mouth, and it's actually super disrespectful. I'm reading stats to you. I'm saying, how can we uplift the poor countries in the Middle East? How can we turn...
Remove the blockade. That's number one.
No. I said the Middle East, funny guy.
Remove the blockade.
I said the Middle East. You're talking about Gaza. I'm naming all these countries that are thriving. Qatar, Bahrain, UAE, Israel, Silicon Valley of the Middle East. What can be done with the countries that are quote-unquote shitholes?
Okay, give me a country like a shithole. Give me an example.
I'm looking at the unemployment rates in all these countries.
Give me one country.
Afghanistan,
okay.
Syria,
Afghanistan.
Lebanon.
Why Afghanistan became a shithole country?
Because they endorsed the Taliban.
They did. They did. Yeah. Isn't that a little bit of a reductive way to tell history? Because at the beginning, there was no Taliban, and then the Soviet Union came in, and then America came in, supported the Taliban, make them bigger than they were, and then at the end of the day, they support. If you remember Rambo 3 was supporting the Taliban, so Taliban was really cool, and even they were even hailed by right-wing Christians as freedom fighters, anti-communists. And then what happened? America, some people like the Richard Wilson wall wanted him to come in to put some schools. That no. We spend all of this money of tanks on weapons. We don't need to put them schools. What happened? Taliban flourished, all because of America interfered, made it shitty, left everything. Taliban flourished, and then America went in again, spent $2 billion, make it even, 2 terrorism laws made it even worse. So when you tell me like a country is not surviving, it's not because there are bad people there. No. You have to come into the root cause. Every single country that you said, I can bring you the root cause of how America and the West has fucked this country to become.
Go to Syria, go to Lebanon, go to there.
Yeah.
Bashar al-Assad, killing his own people, gassing his own people. Tell me what that's Americans' fault.
Who's he supported? Who was he supported by?
That's the whole problem in the Middle East.
Okay.
You have Sunni, you have Shiite, you've got Houthi rebels, you got
every single country in the Middle East.
It's a quagmire wrapped in a riddle, and then surrounded by Islamic terrorists.
Every single Middle East.
Figure it out.
Bashar Hussein is not. You cannot really put Bashar Hussein as a Islamic terrorist thing,
because he's fighting ISIS, which we're funding ISIS to fight against Bashar al-Assad.
Who's funding ISIS?
Wells Fargo has provided $5.6 million to help launch financial health initiatives at HBCUs and funded over $107 million to scholarships and programming for diverse communities. Wells Fargo, the bank of doing.
You tell me.
Qatar was actually funded by the United States. All right. So yeah, you don't understand. You see, this is how complicated.
I do understand how complicated it is.
People in the Middle East are either supported by Russia or supported by America, and they're fighting each other. So at the end of the day, you have people who have come to power because they have been supported by one of the superpower, and they're fighting against each other.
Yeah.
You know, you have the Hamiditi and you have the army in Sudan. Each one of them is supported by external powers. So it's not about like the Islamization of them. It's not about the economy is bad because at the end of the day, these are warlords who are fighting against each other. But to reduce that, in order, why can't they just like make some money while you completely ignore the power of the international powers that are involved into that? Like, for example, the country like Mali. Mali is like very, very restless. And the reason Mali is restless, that Paris is there and it's putting up like some sort of a puppet president, so Paris can continue taking its share of gold and put it into its coffers. So it's much more complicated than just selling Islamization or non-Islamization. All of these power of play, you just gave me a Taliban and I give you the reason why America did that. Saddam Hussein, right? Saddam Hussein, he was the baby of the United States administration, and then he went in and he invaded Kuwait. Who gave him the money? Who gave him that kind of power? All right, it has been going on forever. The superpower are using the smaller countries, and they are controlling their own leaders in order to go fight each other, because at the end of the day, it works for them.
No, I'm in full agreement with you that it's a mystery wrapped in a riddle, wrapped in a quagmire, what's going on in the Middle East. And I'm in full agreement with you that there are proxy wars all over the Middle East, no doubt. But the tip of the spear that's funding all the chaos, Pat has said that this is the year of chaos. The tip of the spear with the chaos is Iran. And who's funding Iran? China, Russia, they have a relationship. Azerbaijan, they have some sort of relationship. How do you deal with Iran? Because Iran's greatest export...
Let's bomb it.
We haven't done it yet.
No, let's bomb it.
I don't think we should bomb it.
I think we should.
Okay.
No, let's bomb it.
Then let's elect you for a government official, and you're no better than what's going on. You're no better than the ministers. So you're the Nikki Haley camp. Let's go for it.
That's the answer. Bomb Afghanistan, bomb Iraq, bomb Palestine, bomb Iran, and let's see what happens.
I speak sarcasm better than the next guy. I trust you. I know you're being sarcastic. But what do you do about a regime that is funding Houthis, Hamas, Hezbollah? They are the ones who are sowing discord. What do you do about Iran?
I remember like Colin Powell in the Security Council, like, let's bomb Iraq. And then they bombed Iraq. How is bombing Iraq had done to this country?
It was a fucking disaster.
Oh yeah, really? But it will not be a fucking disaster to bomb Iran, right?
I'm agreeing with you. I know that you're speaking sarcasm, so people that aren't watching.
You say like, oh, it's all about Iran. It starts like this.
Of course it is all about Iran. Who's funding the Houthis? Who's funding Hezbollah? Who's funding Hamas?
Because 20 years ago...
Billions of dollars they're giving to terrorist organizations.
Because 20 years ago...
And you just want to ignore that?
20 years ago, it was Iraq. And 20 years ago, it was Afghanistan, and they bombed them.
I got a question for both of you. I'm actually really curious and listen to both of you guys. This is my question. Okay. The part that both of you guys agree that we had a guy on the only guy, one of the guys I've had on a couple times, his name is John Perkins. He wrote a book called The Economic Hitman. I don't know if you've read the book. You know who he is. Okay. And one of the things he talked about the model on what it was, they go to a president, and that's what he did, by the way. This was his job, okay? Mm-hmm. He goes to a country that has a natural resource or location, oil, it's close to something that they can have some kind of control. And they go to him and they say, here's what we're going to be doing. We're going to come here and we're going to bring billions of dollars of infrastructure to your country. However, here's what you're going to give us. Mm-hmm. Okay? And then the presidents who said no, he says, a couple of them they killed.
Oh, shit.
That was his job. Mm-hmm. Okay? And he doesn't say he killed them, but he says, if you said no, when I went back and I had to report back to the people that I work for that you're saying no to, guess what? Bad things are going to happen to you and your family.
Wow.
And it happened. Mm-hmm. Then the next model was we bring infrastructure, then we make the country go bankrupt. Then you give us everything, then we control you. Are we naive enough to believe?
That's what China is doing now.
Exactly. But pre-China... we did that.
America did that,
and others have done that, and Russia's done that. Other people, and UK tried to do that to Iran, and then later on, eventually, UK, US, Germany, France. These guys got rid of the Shah because coup and all. The people have been involved with economic hitmen for a long time. Here's a question for you, Bassem. Here's a question for you, Adam. Okay, so we both agree that that's going on. Okay, we both agree that that's been going on for many decades. No one can even dispute it nowadays. But now we're in this shithole. And what I mean by shithole, shit show, is insanity everywhere. Bassem, what do you do now? Is it more from the standpoint where a part of you was almost not optimistic? You're like, Pat, I think this thing's going to go and nothing's going to happen. It's going to continue all this other stuff, right? What do we do now? We were told during 2015, 2016, when it was a debate between Hillary Clinton and Trump.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And what were we told? If Trump becomes the president, war is going to happen. This is what's going to happen. So everybody, we're all like, oh shit, it's going to be pretty bad. This guy's going to have do you really want this guy to have the finger on the button? Okay, he goes in, ISIS disappears, there's no war, it's quiet, low key, everything's good, boom, 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 and then, it's good. And then boom, Biden gets elected. He's going to be peace. He's going to bring everybody together. He's going to bring this. Then he comes in, and then next thing you know, Afghanistan happens within months. $83 billion of equipment being left. And you got Ukraine, Russia, and then you got this. And then there's a bunch of guys, economists, that are talking about, this is China's year to try to invade Taiwan because Taiwan's got an election coming up.
It's a shit show, basically, is what you're saying.
Yeah, but the point is, like, there's so many contradictions in politics as well. At a point like this, Bassem, where mainstream media is not going to tell us the real story because they're maybe not even getting the real story themselves on what's happening behind closed doors. What do you do today?
There is one of the most advanced military armies in the region, in the world, supported by the West, supported by America, have voting, like, they're diverting their vote all over, and they're killing people for all that time, and nobody is doing anything for
Who are you
Israel.
talking about?
I'm talking about Israel.
Okay.
All right? So the killing has to stop. And I'm not talking about Gaza. I'm talking about what they do in the West Bank. Every single day in the West Bank, all of these people are being killed in the West Bank. And there's no Hamas came out from West Bank to do the 7th of October. All right? Just a couple of days ago, like a woman was walking with her children, snap, walking the street. That is the regular days of people in the West Bank. Do you think the problem is Gaza? What you see in Gaza is an accelerated, exaggerated form of what's happening in the West Bank too. So you have a country that has occupied the land, and they are like making people living like animals. And if you deal people with like animals, they will come up as animals, right? So that is the crux of all. We can talk about politics and about economy. It's here till the kingdom comes. What is happening is horrible injustice happening every single day. They're taking people, strip them up, saying them that they're Hamas. You have like an 11 person being killed every hour. You have 247 person being killed every day. That is in 5 days. That is like 1,400 people that were killed on this October 7th. You have 30,000 people. And the thing is, when you say 20,000, 30,000, numbers don't don't mean anything anymore. If I told you 1 million people died in Gaza, you will not flinch because their numbers have become so.
It's true.
See, it's nobody.
I don't disagree.
So we go into these circular motions. How can we stop that again? How is that? No, there is killing happening every day. My wife's family have actually cheated death so far for 100 days because they've been running from Khan Yunis to Rafah, back to Khan Yunis, and they were told in the beginning that Khan Yunis and Rafah are the safe place because it's in the south. And then they were telling them, these are the safe path.
Yeah.
Take this safe path. These are the buses. They will run into the buses, and Israel will bomb the buses. After being guaranteed that this is a safe path. This is murder every day. So I don't know all of these circular wars about like river to the sea, what's happening. That doesn't make any sense while people are being killed every single day. We have a tragedy, a genocide, a Holocaust happening in Gaza, and everybody is just like playing their balls. It's like, what do you think about the economy? What do you think about that? What do you think about Iran? That's bullshit. There's killing happening right now, and we're just like watching it and trying to fill time with useless conversation.
But how do you fix it short term, though? Because short
make
term,
Israel stop. There's no.
How do you do that? Okay,
exactly. America has to tell Israel stop because basically Israel is a client state. It's taking all of its money in the States. It has actually sucked America dry with all of the money that is taking away from him, and yet it's not doing anything.
So why do you think Biden administration is not telling them to stop?
Because they are fucking cowards. Because it seems that every 4 years, every American president go and kiss the hand and bend the knees and go to AIPAC to make them sure that Israel is much more important in their foreign policy than America itself. And the only one who did not do it was Bernie Sanders, the only Jewish American candidate who refuses to go to IPAC. And you cannot call that anti-Semitic, right? And you have to be very, very careful about being anti-Semitic or anti-Jew, because if you call me anti-Semitic, I'm just like, I'm going to fuck you, man. I'm not. Like my idol is Jon Stewart. Bernie Sanders, I voted for him for presidency. Is this whole thing about like using anti-Semitic and Islamophobe and all that you can do and transphobe to shut down the conversation? It's bullshit. You have a murderous country who have lied to the international community, who have actually neutered its own Ethiopian women because they didn't want black people to reproduce, who kidnapped Yemeni Jewish people from their parents, who have like countless atrocities, who even have zoning laws like Jim Crow. It's like, what are this? This is like a racist country that is supported by the United States, and it's killing. And it's fine. There's a lot of racist country, horrible people, but I've never seen a country killing 30,000 people within 100 days. This is 10 times the number of Ukrainians being killed in Russia in 2 years. It does not make any sense. And about nuclear weapons, yes, they have calculated it. Right now, they've calculated the number of weapons that have, by the TNT, they have run like three nuclear weapons in a very, very small part. So it's really about the killing. Stop the killing, and then we can talk.
Yeah, but that's okay. So
that's that. Now let's not stop the killing. Let's talk more about stuff that doesn't make any sense.
What I'm saying is,
question?
No, I'm asking the question to say, we're so in too deep.
Marcus is a connoisseur of anything that's free. So he was happy to read the disclaimer on TurboTax Free Edition.
Roughly 37% of
that the amount of parties involved is not as simple as stop the killing, because you know the only way this works, and I know you're a diehard President Trump fan. I know you're a big fan of his, and you campaigned for him and all that stuff. I've heard you getting up there. You open up for him all the time, which is beautiful.
Oh, I love it. Oh, yeah. Trump. He is my favorite.
So let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. Why do you think? Sometimes you sit there and you say, man, I can't stand that person. That person is da 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 da. And then, shit, maybe am I wrong myself? Maybe that guy's not as bad as I think that guy's. Fuck, there's no way in the world I can say anything good about him. No way. If I do, God forbid if I do, right? Okay. Do you think, like, every family, has that one tough guy in the family. And when that person is alive, nobody does anything stupid. Do you know what I'm talking? Every family has it. You have it, I have it, we all have it, right? It's an uncle, it's a grandfather, it's a father, it's somebody.
Is the bully?
He's not the bully. It's not the bully. It's the guy that doesn't allow the bully to bully. That guy. Okay. It's the guy that does...
protector.
Yeah, it's like the protector. It's kind of like you don't want to wake that guy up. Like, that one scene from Christopher Walken in a movie says, every once in a while, the lion is sitting there, and they come and pull him, and they do this, and they do that.
The hyenas are biting his
Every
ankle.
once in a while, the lion has to wake up and tell everybody. Because everybody knows what the lion is capable of.
Yes.
Right? This is why people put on their house sign that says what? There's a vicious dog,
yeah.
In the back. Or this house believes in the Second Amendment. Whether they have a gun or not, the person that's trying to rob the house is going to say what? I don't want to go and rob a house that may have a gun in there, right? Mm-hmm. So that sign avoids conflict.
Yes.
Why do you think, Bassem? I'm so curious to know what kind of an answer you're going to give to this. Why do you think during Trump there was no war, no conflict, and we were expecting to see World War III under him? Why do you think?
I have no idea. And I think because maybe Trump, as much as I don't like him, he was kind of business oriented. He said, like, I'm not going to, how much will that war cost me? No, I'm not going to do that. So maybe that's the one thing, and that's kind of something to be good on his behalf, although I'm not a big fan. I have a problem with other policies, but I don't think. Yeah, maybe that's the only thing. But
Bassem, what about?
Let me stay on.
Go. Because I was going to ask a question too.
Because I on the spending side, it's going to cost us money. He's a business. That's an interesting perspective. But okay, how about this one? How about the fact that he says, "Hey, you have a button, I have a bigger button. Hey, you do this, I know exactly where you are right now and I can destroy you. I would much rather not. How about the fact that he put the fear in people that wanted to bully and take advantage of other people, so nobody did during his time?
Maybe, but you also have to remember that COVID came in right in the middle.
That was 3 years later. That was three.
No, that was actually
2.5 years later.
Yeah, but you know,
the first 2.5, or still, if the COVID came, you know, that's even a bigger opportunity. But
I have no clear answer. I'm the only thing is like, this is going to cost us money. I don't want to spend money.
But you know what? Though, you're a smart guy and a reasonable guy, because for me, like if I were to sit there and say, you know, what did Clinton do? You know, I voted for Clinton. The freaking last time we had a balanced budget, him and Newt Gingrich worked together, right? Mm-hmm. So, you know, what did Reagan do? Reagan and Tip O'Neill would go have beer together afterwards as two Irishmen. They would fight throughout the day, but at 6 o'clock, they're at the bar sitting there having a drink together, right? You don't have to like the enemy or somebody that maybe policy-wise you disagree with. You may say, I don't agree with them on pro-life, pro-choice. I don't agree with them on blah, blah, blah. I don't agree with them on this. But holy moly, the temperature was super low during Trump than we have today. Everybody that was talking about Biden's a sweet man, he's a unifier, he's this, he's that. Dude, we got it's almost a World War III. Categorically, we can't say it, but there's a world going on right now.
Because he's supporting Israel.
But so did Trump, though.
Yeah, but Israel didn't do the attack during Trump.
And you know what Trump said about Netanyahu? Did you hear what Trump said about Netanyahu?
Right.
Can you pull up a clip about what Trump said about Netanyahu, where Trump said, after what happened with Bassem Soleimani, okay, you remember when he took out Bassem Soleimani, who was supposed to be like the next leader, he was the number 2 guy in Iran. He criticized Netanyahu and said he almost didn't trust him because when Netanyahu said he was going to be in it with him, he didn't. So the part about Trump is he doesn't have a problem Wait, you criticized Netanyahu? Your daughter's married to Kushner. What are you doing criticizing?
I don't know if that will be the same if it was like more of a massive like military operation that's
maybe
happening
because
right
it
now.
wouldn't happen under
because like when you kill someone, it kind of like repercussion kind of like die very quickly. But this is like an ongoing for more than 3 months. So I don't know how Trump would react.
Are you a sports guy?
Yeah.
What do you like? What sport?
Basketball.
You like basketball?
Yeah.
You know what they say? You know, like sometimes like these teams like, you know, Baltimore Ravens or some of the teams like even back in the days, I don't know if you're a Detroit Pistons guy or if you're an old school basketball guy or not. A lot of the guys won because their defense was sick, right? They just had a sick defense. Or you wouldn't come through the middle, or they just were freaking hovering all over. It was so annoying.
Yeah, like
right?
the Jordan rules in Pistons.
That's right, the Jordan rules Pistons, right? So, you know, sometimes, you know, the best way to prevent a war is to have the fear you impose on everybody else where you know, defense where it's like, you know what? We're just not even going to get there. I don't even want to do anything under this guy. Do you think at this point, like, for example, case studies, you've been here since 2014, right? November 11, 2014. So do you think 10 years, you've been here 10 years. I came here November 28, 1990, okay? And you come here like, okay, a senior, Bush senior. All right, Clinton, interesting. Okay, boom, junior, GW, interesting. Okay, Obama, there's a Trump, so now you